I'm Sophia A. Jackson, and I'm the editor and founder of Aphrodisiac Theatre News. And today I'm joined by,
Lanre Malaolu, writer, director, choreographer, and of this show Now I See.
thank you. Um, so Now I See is the second instalment in your trilogy following Samskara, which we saw at the Yard Theatre as part of a meetup with Dope Black Mums. The play excavates and celebrates the truth of being a Black man in contemporary Britain, according to the press release. But in your own words, what is Now I See about?
According to the press release. I love that. Look, man, now I see, for me, you rightly mentioned that it came off the back of Samskara in a way that I didn't expect or intend in any way, shape, or form. Samskara had this incredible reception and changed me and changed a lot of people who were involved in the process and who came to see it from what I've heard
Yeah.
and continue to hear, which is a beautiful and brilliant thing. And I pretty much found myself at my laptop when it ran for the second time, um, uh, just starting to write and write and write, and I don't know what I was writing at the
Mm.
time. Kind of just zoned out, but also zoned in to something and just carried in. And so these words just kind of pulled out of me, and then I left them alone. I kind of stopped. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't expect that. And I think as artists, we have this pressure. You know, when a show does well, whatever that means,
Mm.
the pressure of, oh, what am I doing next? I surprisingly didn't give myself that pressure because I think I had learned a lot about Samskara in terms of that journey for me, um, of who I am as an artist, and knowing that actually it's about the people who are involved that are the most important thing, and honoring people in a space together and in hearts and minds, and collaborating in a beautiful, meaningful way to create something and to be seen and to see people in that process. And so I think me pouring into this laptop wasn't like, oh, this is the next thing. It was just something just wanted to come out of me. And so I left it alone, came back, and then it was in the coming back that I was realizing as I was writing that Samskara was the first chapter of a book. Um, and in this second chapter was this piece that I was writing, Now I See. This
Mm.
piece specifically was focused on three brothers. Samskara was about the generational cycles of fatherhood. You have these different generations of Black men and what it means to kind of pass things over as fathers to our sons, and the most, the beautiful things that we pass over. I say we, I'm not a father, but as a son, the things that are passed over, and perhaps some of the things that we want to look at or slightly change or bring a different depth or understanding to that we pass on. Now I see, for me, came from a place of connection and what it is to connect and reconnect with family that you may have been estranged from or to, um, and what it is to really connect or reconnect with yourself. Um, Families are really interesting because you grow up in a unit, and that unit is defined by the fact that you are all related by blood. Um, and the beautiful thing, I say beautiful thing, which can also be quite challenging sometimes, are the stories that come from families, right? We have certain stories that are amazing and that are joyful, but then there's these other stories that we have that are like have these three different points of views. So you've got
Mm.
sisters saying one thing, you've got mum saying the other, you've got brother saying this. And those stories might just be, oh, remember that time where you flipped the coin and it hit sister in the eye? That's a weird. What kind of story is that? I don't know. That's weird. And then someone's like, no, it didn't go in my eye, it went in my. But then these other stories that you have that hold these emotional resonance that actually shape certain members of the family for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And these emotional narratives stay with us because they are the first and family unit, people, hearts, minds, eyes that we grow into and grow around and grow from. so for me, it's about unpacking some of those stories that we sometimes have in families, which are the most beautiful things, but also some of the ones that might weather us into a certain place where we want to kind of look back and go, okay, am I still that person? And who do I want to be now, next? Um, and what are the things that I'm holding? And so reconnecting with yourself in a different way. Um, uh, it's a piece about forgiveness.
Right.
Mm, forgiveness is such an interesting thing because I think when you forgive someone that's outside of yourself, whether it's
Mm,
family, whether it's friends, you see a shift in that relationship. You see something change, hopefully, or not change, and that's okay
yeah.
because that person is outside of yourself. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But no one really talks about what I like to call the messy business of self-forgiveness.
Oh.
Because self-forgiveness is something that is an inside job, right? So if there's
Mm,
something you've had in your life, whether it's um uh, an emotional part of yourself or within yourself that you felt like you've held on to, so a layer of skin of yourself that you've held on to, and you felt like you needed to shed for whatever reasons, um, how do you, but you've held on to that kind of skin or held on to that image of yourself for so long and created and kind of calcified and created this kind of armor around yourself.
mm,
How do you allow yourself to let go, forgive, and move on? Um, and so this piece explores that, and but it's all through the lens of joy and connection and
mm-hmm.
abundance, which I think is really, really important because actually I was saying this to someone in rehearsals the other day, like joy and suffering are interchangeable,
Yeah.
right? And as a black person, but as a human being, they're interchangeable. You can flip it on a coin and it can just be spinning, and you can feel joy and suffering at the same time. And so there's a lot of moments of lightness and these movement sequences that these brothers do where they're connecting to past memories. And I don't want to say too much, but like it's got that kind of nostalgic feeling that is also planted in the emotional truth of who they are or who they were, who they are, and who they want to become as brothers.
Um, I feel like I've just gone through a therapy session. Was it
It's
quite
interesting you say this.
was it quite therapeutic for you writing it?
Mm, therapeutic. What do you mean by therapeutic? I'm gonna ask you this because so I really, really understand.
Um, was it healing?
Ah, that's it, right? But therapeutic and therapy is so loaded now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so loaded for so many reasons.
yeah.
And I love, Sophia, that you said healing because actually that is a central narrative and piece and an important part of what this piece is
Mm-hmm.
and what it leads to. There's this sequence that happens at the end. What can I say? What can I say? Okay, what I can say is in Samskara, um, there were one of the elements that were used that was a really important part of the piece, and that was soil.
Yeah,
And I again, it just happened. I was writing for Now I See, and this idea came out. Not idea, but it was rooted. It was about healing, and it was about water. And in so many different religions, in so many different cultures, water, there's this cleansing, this ritual,
yeah.
this healing aspect that water has in African culture, in so many different cultures. And so many things happened as I was writing this. There was certain music that came up, which I definitely won't say that, but there were certain things that came up as I was writing that just fed in. And and I knew I was like, this piece is about healing. This piece is about healing. I don't want
Mhm.
to, I personally, as someone who loves going to theater, I'm tired of going to theater where it's just like, if we're talking about black people, black trauma just splattered on stage. And then
Yeah,
at the end, okay,
traumatized. Just yeah,
all right, see, should we go, Nando's, get us some food, or
yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, then it's what are we leading to? Okay, great, we get it. I understand that, but also what are we leading to? And if you're going to talk about those things, What is the way you're talking about those things and expressing those things, and what is the underbelly of that? The underbelly, because for me, it's not just okay, pain, suffering. It's what are we reaching towards? Connection,
Mm.
joy, love, healing. Okay, there's a bit of pain. Okay, but what are we reaching towards? If we're reaching towards that thing, then that thing needs to be peace to it within the piece, right? Within the show, within the whatever the work or the thing or the subject matter is. And so, yes, Sophia, writing this piece was deeply healing because I started writing this piece not knowing if I was going to finish it.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's why I can say it was healing because
Yeah.
I was hit by um by visions of myself in the most clearest mirror that I've ever seen in my life. It was like, this is who you are.
Hmm.
This is who you are. Who do you want to be? This is who you in the most clearest way in my life. And when you are faced with yourself in the most clearest HD 4K vision, no hiding, just you, that's scary. I was gonna swear, but I don't know if you can swear here.
You can
But that is
swear.
scary. That's scary. That shit is scary. Like real, right? And I think a lot of as human beings and as black people, we hide. We
Mm.
sometimes hide. Sometimes we're conditioned to hide, from growing up from X, Y, and Z, which we don't even need to get into.
No.
But taken away from that, in families, we sometimes are conditioned to hide, regardless of your skin. You're
Yeah.
one version of yourself in front of your family because you feel like you have to be that to get by.
Yeah.
Or even if it's a positive thing that you're the joker, you play that role. And
And
so
you have
why
to continue to always play that that role as well.
and that comes at a cost, doesn't it?
Yeah. You said that you saw yourself in the writing. So is that why it's called Now I See? Is was it really Now I See Me? Or
I mean, I won't answer that too
no?
because the reason why I won't, yeah, is I don't know where it came from. I genuinely don't. And I also feel like it could be seen in so many different ways, the title. So if I sit here and tell you this is what it was, then you're gonna have
Mm,
this vision of what it was. Whereas I would love people to come and see it. And because now I see in the context of this piece, there are so many different
mm.
reflections, refractions of that mirror that it could fill in certain different sentences. It could be the beginning of a sentence or the end of a sentence.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
there's something I find that's really interesting about that, and also just about going to experience theatre. So yeah.
Talking about experiencing theatre. So this year I've seen Red Pitch twice.
Shout
I've
out Daniel Bailey all day and the
yeah,
team.
and the
Yeah.
team. And then this week I saw For Black Boys for like fifth time, I think. And now I'm looking forward to seeing Now I See. How important is it for Black men to see themselves on stage and not be traumatized afterwards, do you feel?
I mean, yeah, yeah, it's a hard question to answer because I think the answer is very important. Do you know what I mean? The answer is very, but I want to go back to what you said about, for me, how important is it for Black men to come and experience something and feel healed, or a sense of healing and deep connection to themselves and to each other as Black men?
Yeah.
And for me, that is deeply important because that is an element and a strand of who I am. It's part of my DNA. It's what I've been seeking in myself and in the people that I connect with. So for me, that is the most important thing in everything I do. And do you know what? That starts from the rehearsal room.
Mm.
That starts from conversations that I have with artists, the incredible cast in this. That starts from those conversations where it's like, just okay, I'm here sitting with you. Who are you? Who are you? And seeing them and
Yeah,
just
talk
and allowing me.
yeah, and talking about the cast, one of the actors was in the original cast for Black Boys. But overall, what have the cast what are they bringing to the table now that you're in the rehearsal process? Have you mended the script, or has it been an emotional rehearsal process? Like, how's that going?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think it's important to say that like each and every piece of work is its own piece of work.
Yeah.
And even if it is, we're exploring a piece that is about that centers around these three black men who are brothers, this is its
Mm,
own thing. Red Pitch is its own beautiful thing, and it tackles things from its own specific angle.
yeah.
This piece as well, like because movement is such a central part of this piece, I won't say that, but there's certain things that as part of this piece that bring it to life in the way that it feels like it needs to in this particular piece. I think it's important to honor that and I'm not saying you're doing that, but I do think we have a tendency in theatre generally to kind of bunch pieces together in their own worlds because it kind of feels easier. And I think that's important. And so every cast member who's in this, I don't see them as cast that were in something. I'm like, these are human beings who I'm seeing today as who
Yeah.
they are now. And I'm starting from that place, starting from where they are here today, and
Mm,
starting from this piece where I am here today, and creating something that I feel like is deeply unique and um, has every day in this rehearsal room. I am knocked for six, man. I am knocked for six.
mhm.
Yesterday, for example, there was this feeling in the air that Oliver said this, funnily enough. He was in the original cast of SAMSKARA. He said it's like there's this, there's this joint collective beating heart that even if he's in the scene and he looks up, he's like, oh, well, everyone's with me. We're here. We're so keyed into each other and so I can't put it into words. And if we could get just a 5% of this feeling that is in rehearsal and share and offer that
Yeah.
on for this piece, I will feel happy. I will feel happy. Just 5%. That's for me what this process has been like. And for me, a central part of everything that I do is about process.
Mm,
It's about process because um I say I don't go into rehearsal rooms necessarily thinking, okay, this needs to be that, that needs to be that. I'm like, okay, here I am. So what is it today? And who am I with? Okay. What is it today and who am I with? What is it today and who am I? Okay, tomorrow. What is it today and who am I with? What are you saying? What am I receiving from you? What are you receiving from me? Yes, okay, these ideas I'm coming. Yes, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I wake up with this movement sequence and it's busy and I write it down. It's cool. I come in, we play with it, but I'm ready to throw it away. It's very live. It's very live. So
yeah.
like yeah, it's been deeply emotional, man, this whole process. Um, and do you know what? I'm so flipping proud of every single artist and cast involved because there's something happening in this space that um, just I don't know, man. The word special doesn't feel right to even touch this. And so yeah, I won't say anymore, but yeah.
So are your movement director and playwright, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how do those work, and what are the challenges of being both a movement director and the writer?
So I see I write the picture. And so if I'm
Mm,
writing the picture, then I have to feel the picture. If I'm feeling the picture, it kind of the writing stage for me isn't just sitting down.
mhm.
Actually, okay, if you were my neighbor, what you would during hearing me write, this is kind of random to say, you'd be hearing this. Then you'd be hearing someone crying. And then you'd be hearing someone like tap dancing on the floor. And you'd be thinking, what is this brother on? Can I get some of that? No,
Yeah.
because it's a visceral, it's a full-bodied visceral thing when I'm writing. And so the choreography and the movement is happening during the writing stage for me. I'm listening
Okay.
to music and I'm like locked in. So that and also the stage directions and the movement like sequences, even though I'm ready to throw them out of the window, I write them from a place of pure clarity and visual images that I see that spill out of the text or spill from the text. It's never just text, movement, text. It's all interlinked. Again, like this is its own thing in this whole show, that it's there's a way that it's linked that makes sense to me. And it might not make sense to other people, but it's just the language that makes sense to me as I'm writing. So challenges in that are, what are the challenges? I think the challenges is probably in the writing stage of stripping things away and knowing what text needs to be there and what doesn't, and what movement could tell that story.
Mm.
But also that's something that I like to throw into the rehearsal process and not come with all the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched the trailer, which I just found it very beautiful and very moving. And then I was like, am I going to spend the whole time crying when I watched the show? It's just like it's so like raw with emotion. So yeah, is
Oh,
that
I think
what
that's
the
it.
production is, or is it just because I'm very emotional? Is it just me?
No, 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 it's not just you, Sophia. I think no, no, the response has been really, really, really beautiful. And you know, I encourage you after I say this to go back and watch the trailer, because actually
Okay.
there are moments of joy
Yeah,
in that trailer.
yeah. I mean, when
Like,
I say cry, I don't necessarily mean crying because just because it's I don't know, it's just emotive, isn't it? So
great.
the
So
tears could
I
just be a
think
release.
yes, yes, that's it. And I think that's getting to the heart of it, right? Like
Yeah,
that's exactly it. And Sophia, there's a release that you have through crying, and also there's a release that you have through laughing.
yeah, yeah,
And they're both equally of equal measure,
yeah.
that I'm approaching this. And like there are so many moments of
Mm,
joy and things that 90s babies, that only 90s babies will get, or 90s babies beyond.
yeah,
And like, you know, there's so many moments that we are howling in rehearsals within this,
yes,
like, because like I said, they interlink, right? They interlink, and you know, you laugh and cry from the same place.
yeah. The heart.
You laugh and cry from the same place.
Yeah.
Um, and so if you're gonna talk about the heart, then you can't just be crying,
Hmm.
you
Yeah, but you can
know?
be crying with laughter. You can.
Yes,
I often cry with laughter.
yes. So they're interchangeable, and they say different things, and they come from different places, or different tonality. Um, so yeah, yeah. I think for me, the word release is such a beautiful word to use. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
I will go and watch the trailer again and then let you know. So can we talk about some of the themes within the play? For example, what is your truth of being a black man in contemporary Britain?
Um, my truth is that there are more sides than I have seen, or that I think has been portrayed in, or shown in life and in theater. Actually, that's
Yeah,
my truth. Um,
yeah.
I think there's a there's a softness, um, I think is missing,
Hmm.
and maybe that's what I've been searching for, and not missing from me. It's in knowing that I have that softness inside me, and that black men have this softness inside them, but actually how that softness is shown and how that softness is expressed. I think for me that feels really true, because it's not about the pain or the suffering, it's about softness.
Mm-hmm.
It's about either lack of softness because you feel like you've been weathered into a certain way that you have to be, or it's about how to access that softness and live fully as who you are in that softness and be good with that.
Yeah. And also if you are encouraged to show your softness as well.
By other people, by
But
black women, by black men, by the world. What do those different narratives show and give me? And
yeah,
how do I counterbalance or counteract that? Um, that's I guess that's my truth. And for me, it's a massive question, and it's one that I give you that answer knowing that it's not the full answer, but also
yeah,
the rest of the answer lies in this piece, and the rest of the answer lies in my continual search as I continue to find out that truth, because
yeah,
it unfolds, and when I hopefully do become a dad, that truth is going to change, Sophia. It's going to
yeah.
change again. It's going to change
Mm.
again. It's going to change again. It's already changed. It's changed uh, when I introduced my brother-in-law into my family and met him. It's changed. It's changed. Um, when I went to Nigeria for the first time, which is where I saw, him married, him and my sister got married, and it changed, and it's going to continue to change, over time. It's changing now during this process.
Yeah, and I
So
think
yeah.
you mentioned that at the beginning when you said that the memories that we have from childhood, as time goes by, they sort of get distorted as people remember them in different ways and as we evolve. Thank you for sharing that. So
Mm.
let's go to our quick fire questions. So the first one is, what's your favorite theatre space?
As in the venue?
Any theatre that you've loved working in ever? Okay,
I've got to shout out Talawa.
that's nice.
Talawa. Like
Mhm.
from all the team there, Talawa. They're doing beautiful, brilliant stuff. So Talawa, I would say.
Thank you. And who would you like to see at Now I See Press Night, Dead or Alive? If you could choose anyone to come and see it.
Um, Steve McQueen.
All right. And finally, for the quick fire, what's your earliest memory of going to the theatre and who took you?
Oh my God. Do you know what? I think it was, which would have been the second one I would have, but I haven't worked there. But I think it was Hackney Empire.
Panto.
Um, yeah, I was born and bred in Hackney. I'm a Hackney boy, through and
Yeah.
through, right? And I'm sure my mum and or my school took me to a panto. I don't know what it was. It was one
Yeah.
of them. It was one of them. I just remember. I remember
Yay.
a panto. I think.
Thank you. And then my last question is, so this is the second in the trilogy. What's the third installment? And are you not
Yeah,
ready to talk about it?
I don't know. I don't have a clue. I it will tell me what it is whenever the time is right. I have an instinct
Yeah.
from a few experiences that I've had in my life that you know I was in Nigeria for the first time
Hmm.
in February, and it was life altering, life changing for so many different reasons.
Hmm.
So then but then there's been other things in my life that have happened, and I don't know yet.
Watch
But
this space.
yeah, because things are swirling without me knowing.
Okay. No pressure though. All right. That's it. That's it. That's all my questions for today. Thank you.
Sophia, thank you so much. Also, I just want to shout you out because you're amazing, man.
Thank
No, no,
you.
no, you're amazing. Oh, keep this on. Hope you're gonna keep this in.
I'm
I
gonna
want the
edit
most.
this out.
Don't edit it out. Don't. The work you do is amazing, and within the context of all your other stuff, right? And you're going strong, and um, you can also see that you love what you do,
I do so much. I do. Thank you.
and you're doing it. So it's not just doing it for a good cause, but you love what you do because that's important as well. It feeds you, and it feeds us. It feeds the. So I don't know. I'm just grateful for you, man, and I'm grateful for what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
So thank you.
Thank you. Um, I look forward to speaking to you again, and hopefully I'll see you when we have the meetup.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once that's confirmed and
Yeah.
everything, I'll be so dope. I don't know what days I'm in watching the show, but hopefully that can be synced up. It'll be lovely to see you, Nina, and everyone else.
Thank you.